Hey, how's it going, everybody? We are over here today looking at Exploring Your Mind website, and the topic is disgust. Processing disgust. How does the brain do it? So, disgust is a basic human emotion. It's often forgotten, but it helps us survive. So, you as a human, you have the right to be disgusted. You have the right to change your behavior when things disgust you. And it's also your duty as a fellow human to be disgusted because you got to lead by example. So notice that processing disgust is the most basic function and has kept us alive through several centuries. Notice what it says about disgust. It's a feeling of strong distaste for certain objects or substances that makes you want to expel, distance yourself from, or simply reject it. So, have you ever noticed that dog owners, more and more and more, they don't have a sense of disgust? They make out with their dogs, bestiality with their dogs, they put dogs in the beds with their children, they allow their dogs to piss and shit all over their houses, they have torn up couches, they have yards full of turds, their bodies stink, their cars stink, the windows in their cars are full of that splooge from the dogs rubbing their faces all over it. Dog ownership is all about being disgusting. What examples do you guys know? How about the pedigree dogs? Go back like about 4 decades or so. Pedigree dogs did not look as absolute freaking nasty as they did today. Folded up faces full of yeast infections, pug dogs, all these other hound dogs with the huge things hanging from their face. It's absolutely disgusting. But dog owners push the limits more and more and more, even at the price of the health of their dogs. So, this emotion is universal and recognized as one of the 6 basic ones common in all cultures, even those with sensory limitations. It comes with a characteristic facial expression. For instance, there is an elevation of the upper lip, a frown, and a lowering of the corners of the lips. So check this out, what it says right here. Check this out. In addition, it comes with a decrease in tension, decrease in galvanic skin response, nausea, decrease in heart rate, a feeling of aversion, distancing oneself from the object. So there is a low stress body response from expressing your disgust. So think about this out in the dog culture. Many people are truly disgusted by dogs, even some dog owners. However, what do we tell them? Oh, you were bitten by a dog as a kid and you don't want to be around this dog. Well, you need to take that emotion and just suppress it and just get over it. You are taking away all of that stress relief that a person right here can have by being disgusted. We are telling people everywhere, oh, you just need to meet more dogs. You just need to this and that, this and that. Oh, just get over it. Just get over it. No, dogs are freaking disgusting, and we should be allowed to express that disgust. But dog culture, dog owners, parents that have dogs, their little kids, they force society and everyone else to suppress their feeling of disgust. And that makes us have more tension. We should be allowed to express those feelings. The nature of disgust. You must keep in mind that experience dictated for the model for the human brain takes as a species and individually. Although you may not know it, humans had a sort of behavioral immune system before they developed sophisticated ones we currently have. So the behavioral immune system, it's like if something can hurt us, if something brings nastiness into our life, yeah, once we bring it into our house, our immune system is going to be overrun by all the pet dander and the piss and the parasites and the shit particles floating around. But what they're saying here is that before we have these advanced immune systems, we just simply stayed away from nasty predators that would kill us, kill our kids, and use up all of our bank accounts. And that's what dogs do. Dogs are nasty and disgusting, and our baseline human system that lets us look at a dog and be like, holy shit, that's disgusting. That's a predator. I don't want it by my baby. We are bypassing that. And the next thing that's getting hurt is our immune system. And don't get me started about dog owners and their constant coughing, hawking loogies all the time, skin rashes. They stink. Yeah, the immune system of most people that have lots of dogs up in their house is overrun. So here are some things that would trigger the disgust response in the human brain: secretions, feces, saliva, blood, wounds, vomiting. So yeah, like dog shit, dog piss, dog saliva, people making out with their dogs, people laying up in their bed with the dog butthole right in their freaking face, people allowing dogs to drag their buttholes all over their carpet and saying, "Oh, my doggy did art." Yeah, feces, rotten food. Oh my god, yeah. Critters, yeah, critters. Certain people just don't want to be around spiders and snakes. That's the core of your human brain. It's telling you, like, okay, that could be dangerous. I don't want to be around it. But with dogs, we just go out of our way to throw that human instinct out the door. Certain characteristics of unknown people are those who are different. Yeah, when you approach a dog that's being pulled, that's pulling a owner along, and the owner is just completely oblivious to the environment, that's the characteristics of something unknown, and it's normal for you to be disgusted by that. Here comes a dog owner. They're looking at their phone. They're staring all over the place. The dog is jerking them all over the place. Yeah, you have the right to be disgusted by that. Violations of social norms? Absolutely. Hey, you're at the park hanging out with your kid, and a dog is allowed to jump up all over your kid, knock him down, shit all over the freaking grass. That's violating the social norms of peace and quiet and adults being able to take care of their children. Oh, a dog came in and caused a huge problem? Oh no, we don't mind. But it's a huge violation of social norms. Dogs violate social norms all the time. I have two awesome videos on that. I'll put them in the description. Please have a look and let me know what you think. So, as innate as this emotion is, it's an acquired emotion. Cultural and developmental differences, for instance, children up to the age of 2 don't seem to know what disgust is. So that's kind of like little kids that touch a wood stove and then their hand burns and then they realize, "Oh my god, that's hot. I don't need to be touching it." However, in our modern dog worshiping, human hating society, we don't allow children to develop their disgust towards dogs. Children are born into households where mom and dad have bite marks on their arm from dogs. Households where mom and dad are broke because they got to pay for the dog. They live in households where their neighbors were killed by a pit bull. So they never get to develop this disgust towards dogs. So you are preying on children. This dog culture, children up to the age of 2. You guys are preying on your children, not allowing to develop their proper sense of disgust. Being around dog shit, dog piss, dogs jumping up and stealing food from little kids. There are so many YouTube channels that celebrate this type of crap. But you're preying on children by doing this, people. A child should be able to develop their sense of disgust. They're talking about right here, toddlers eventually develop this emotion by observing their parents' behavior. So many years ago, if you were with your parents and a dog knocked you over or a dog knocked a child over, most likely the parent would not allow that. You don't come up and knock my kid over, dog. You don't steal food out of my high chair or the table. The parents would not allow dogs to do what they do to kids. But in our modern society where we are at now, parents just allow dogs to literally murder their children. Dog owners get away with murder all the time. Murder, dismemberment, limb loss, faces having to be stitched back together. And then these kids go back into a society where they're not allowed to be disgusted by the dogs because of their dumbass parents' behavior. Oh, your face was ripped apart and part of your calf muscle is just completely gone because of a dog attack. Well, don't be disgusted with dogs. Just get over your fear there, little kid. Dog culture is just absolutely sick, you guys, and it takes away our natural brain, our natural humanity when we are not allowed to be disgusted by dogs. So the frontal cortex, again, is taking the highlight in some of my videos. It's important for your frontal cortex and many other parts of your brain to be working so you can be disgusted with the right things so that you don't get killed by those things. It's absolutely okay to be disgusted by nasty dogs. But if our frontal cortex, our hippocampus, and other parts of our brain are compromised, we won't be disgusted. Part of it is because as dog owners, we don't use those parts of our brain. if you're a little kid born into a household full of 5 and 6 dogs, these parts of your brain, they're just not getting the blood flow. They're not getting the neurotransmitters and all the signaling that they need to work. So by the time you're 10 years old, 20 years old, you're not even able to be disgusted by dogs. Even the nasty images of kids being torn apart on the news that they say, these images are too graphic, we're not going to show you. They don't show you, and you don't get to store it in your brain, so you can never be disgusted by it. Plus, you've grown up not accessing these parts of your brain that allow you to be disgusted by all of the deaths and dismemberment that dog culture causes. A big part of it is the prefrontal cortex and other parts of your brain store the images of things that you're disgusted by. So if you look at a dog attack story on almost every news, they will say, we're not going to show you these images because they're too disturbing. So you don't get to see the images, so you never get to develop that disgust, the disgust that you should have when your fellow humans are torn up by dogs. And don't forget, having that disgust also helps you relieve stress. So there's a lot more to this article and a lot more to this discussion, but have a look at this article for yourself. It really explains a lot about dog culture. This little part I'm highlighting right now. This region seems to be responsible for experiencing disgust, as well as recognizing expressions of disgust in other people. So I did another video about the prefrontal lobe and how people recognize the emotions of other people. Like if you looked at somebody and they were really sad and upset about a dog attack, you might be sad and upset too. But if they're not sad and upset, then you don't get to experience that empathy. You don't get to connect to other people. And this is a big part of the dog attacks and the nasty things that happen with dogs. People don't express it in their face, so we aren't allowed to empathize with them either. And I'll put the video that addresses that in the description. And I know some people are going to kind of debate my standpoint here, but dog ownership, it's easily to prove, comes with a high level of disgusting living conditions and more dogs, 17 dogs living in a dog hoarder home, disgusting conditions. They go into this home with hazmat suits, and it's layers of piss, layers of shit, garbage everywhere. There's no music, there's no artwork, there's no books. It's just a disgusting, filthy way to live. And in order for you to live there with all those dogs, you have to completely abandon your feeling of disgust, which means so many portions of your brain are just going dead. No oxygen, no blood supply, nothing, because those feelings of disgust, you just shut them off so you can bring a bunch of dogs into your house. And so if it's even one dog, we are still doing this at some level to our fellow humans, and that's not right. We should take care of our humans first, and we should stop adopting habits that make us throw our humanity out the door. And not allowing our fellow humans to be disgusted by disgusting things is a terrible subhuman habit.